What I'm going to do now is I don't want a very large file. I want to keep my file size as economical as possible. And now that I've got blending modes in here, I've got this one layer on a darken blending mode. If I merge the layers down, if I right click, select them all and press merge layers or merge visible, but I don't want to press merge layers here. But if I did that, I would then lose the effect that the layer on the blending mode has. So what I want to do instead is I don't want to create a copy merge layer because I don't want to add all those extra pixels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to command click, then I'm going to command shift click to add to that selection. And I'm just going to then press command shift C, command shift, oh wait, let's make sure we're at the top here. Command shift C, command shift V, and I'm going to group this and just double check that nothing changes. And that's great. So I'm just going to now delete this group and label this RT. The RT stands for retouch, by the way. Perfect. The next thing we want to do is just create another blank pixel layer. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill in the eyelashes a little bit. And I'm going to do this by drawing them in. So let's just label this layer eyelashes. So now we've got that, and I'm going to go to my brush settings. And I'm going to put shape dynamics on, and I'm going to set it to fade. Let's just down the size of the brush. What it does is you can see it creates a fade towards the end of the stroke. So it's thicker at the start of the stroke and it fades out towards the end. And the diameter, the more you make the minimum diameter increase, the more even the spread of thickness, and the lower it is, the more that hair shape is there. So I'm going to use it at about 30, I think would be good. And then I'm just also going to make sure that noise is checked on as well, because we're obviously adding fake pixels to the image. We want them to have a little bit of texture. And then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to brush in some hairs of varying lengths. And I'm going to try and mimic what the hair is doing around it. And I'm just going to go around and I'm going to do this to both eyes, and I'll come back to you when I've done that. Perfect. So the last thing we've got to do to make these hairs really sit in there is just blur them slightly so that they fit in with the hairs around them. So I'm just going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I'm going to have a look at what blur strength works. I think 0.5 is too much. I'm going to try 0.3, which looks better to me. So I'm going to press that, and that is the eyelashes filled in. So that is all the pixel work done now. We've got the distractions removed, the eyebrows are evened out, and the eyelashes are filled in. I'm now going to get towards the file prep for the rest of the editing. Obviously, because the edges are all now what they will be, we've cloned away anything that we were going to clone away, so the edges won't change. So now I can paths for the foreground, the hair, the skin, and I can see that I'm going to want to do color corrections to the teeth, tongue, and lips. So I'm going to create paths for them as well and save them as alpha channels so that I can easily access them whenever I need them. I mentioned paths and channel masking because in most situations they are the most accurate way of creating selections, but they can be time consuming for high volume projects with lower budgets, so you may need to use your own judgment on which selection method works best for you in which situation. So I've got my pen tool, it's set to combine shapes, and I'm just going to go around and create some paths now. Great, so we've got our paths made. I'm now going to do a channel mask for the hair. So I'm going to go to my channels and I'm going to just make sure I'm on the background there, and I'm going to go Command 3, 4 and 5 to cycle through the different channels. And I can see that in this image the blue channel has the most contrast between the foreground and background. So I'm going to duplicate that and I'm going to press Command M to bring up a curve, and I'm then going to just go in and select with my eyedropper and point sample one part of the hair and a part of the background, and I'm going to increase the contrast there. And that looks about right. I'm then going to get my dodge tool and have it set to highlights, and I'm just going to go around and dodge the background a bit as well. Great, so then I'm just going to get my brush tool and I'm going to just brush out anything that isn't hair. Perfect, and then I'm just going to Command I that, and I'm going to get the burn tool and I'm going to just, any areas that still need to be burned down, I'm going to burn them down. And I'm then going to get the dodge tool again and I'm going to just dodge in here. And there you go, we have our hair mask. So I'm just going to label this hair. So I'm just going to go to the paths now. I'm just going to click and then I'm going to make selection, and I'm going to feather this by, I'm just going to say around 1.2 I think should do the job. And then I'm going to Command Shift click on the hair mask. And I'm going to go select, save selection, and I'm going to call this foreground or FG. And there we've got our foreground mask now. And then I'm going to do a similar thing with the lips. I'm going to right click, make selection, and the lips I'm going to feather by 2 because you want a nice soft edge around the lips. And select, save selection, lips, and I'm just doing this so that I can easily have my masks saved and they'll have the feather applied to them already. And then I'm going to get the teeth, select, save selection, teeth, and lastly the tongue, feather it. And I think I'm going to feather the tongue by 1 as well. Select, save selection, deselect. Great. Now we've got our masks saved as channels, which is really useful. So you can see that's the hair channel, the foreground channel, the lips, the teeth, and the tongue.